Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to look at the APA warm-up, and specifically I'm going to just cut right to the end of the warm-up and have a look at some of the exercises we do, which we call the widths. The widths are the exercises we're going to do back and forth across the tennis court. So I'm going to start off with some of the exercises right now. There's 7 exercises altogether, and it's really, really important that you pay attention to where I start, where I finish, and some of the key coaching cues that we're going to talk about shortly. So I'm going to get on with it right now. Okay, so the first exercise is called the single knee dead leg lift. And this is a locomotive pattern that is going to help the children to improve their coordination between their arms and their legs whilst doing a running type action. So I'm going to show you it now, and I'll show you it from the front. And then I'll also come across and we'll do it across the camera as well. Okay, so a couple of things to be aware of. Very simple, always try and stay tall at all times. You'll see a lot of the children that when they start lifting their knee and their opposite arm, they'll start to tuck under like a chicken. Okay, so rather than this kind of chicken position, stay nice and tall, keep using your arms. Again, you see a lot of children that will use the same size arm and leg. Try and make sure that you're using the opposite arm and leg. And the last thing, when you're lifting your foot, rather than having your toes point down the floor, make sure that you're pulling your toes towards your shins. The next exercise we're going to do is side steps. Now, some people call these side shuffles, and some people even kind of differentiate between a side shuffle and a side step. I guess for me, this would be the way I differentiate. So some people would call this a quick one, like this, more of a side shuffle, and others might use this bigger movement as more of a side step. We're talking, well, to be honest, you can do both, I don't really care. But most of the time we're going to focus on the side step, so slightly bigger movement. So I'm going to show you that now. And with this particular one, the most important thing with the children is that they start in an athletic ready position, so you're looking to get their feet slightly wider than their shoulders, toes facing ahead. You're looking for them to drop their head and shoulders over their feet so they get nice and low, and then whilst they're moving sideways, trying to keep that athletic height. What you don't want is them to kind of be like jumping up and down like an astronaut like this, so stay nice and low, okay? And again, as before, using those arms. Okay, we're now going to look at the high skips. So this is really a great opportunity to use your gross athletic skills, all of that power that you've got in your arms and your legs, to get as high as possible. So it's a great opportunity for the children to express their athleticism and have a bit of fun. So I'll show you a couple of exercises here. Just sideways quickly. And just like all of the other exercises, it's going to sound repetitive now, but that's fine because this is what the kids need to hear. Use your arms. Make sure you're really swinging. We call it pockets to sockets. So when you're trying to get that height, get your arms to go from your eye sockets down to your hip pockets. So you can cue the kids on this, pockets to sockets. I don't really care so much if the arm starts to straighten on the way back. I used to think that you have to keep it 90-90, always 90. But actually, what you'll notice is that most people, when they start to put their arms back, their arms will start to straighten. And that's actually natural, it's normal, and it's fine. And I'll explain another time why that is the case, but it's perfectly acceptable for them to do that. This next exercise is quite specific to tennis. So it's really, really important that you do this in the proper way. So what you're going to see me do with this next exercise is I'm going to be orientated towards the camera as if I'm moving towards the camera and trying to hit a ball that's in front of me. So what you'll notice is that my hips are facing away from the camera, and also my shoulders to a degree, but I'm looking, my visual focus is looking over my shoulder at the camera, and that's the kind of look that we want with the children. If they were going to be doing this without a racket, they can just put their hands down like this, but it works great if they're actually holding a tennis racket, so they can hold their racket here and then start to move. Now, if you have ever done any throwing events like the javelin, you might have called this the javelin step, and you can see why, because I'm bringing this back foot in front of my front foot, and it almost imitates the same action as if you were throwing a javelin. So you can call it a javelin step, but we're not doing track and field, we're doing tennis, so we call it a crossover step or a cross step. So what you're aiming to do with your hands here, your chin on your shoulder, you're looking to cross in front, and then from this position here, having done the cross step, we're going to do two shuffles, one shuffle and another shuffle. Okay, so I'm going to put that all together now so you can see. And it's really important that you can pay attention to the size of the steps that I took. You'll notice that I was able to get from the outside tram line to the centre service line, having repeated that pattern twice. So if you are efficient, and obviously younger children are not going to be able to do it because they'll be smaller, but if you're playing on a full-size court and you're playing on a yellow ball, then obviously this is the expectations that we would have, is that you can complete that pattern with a crossover side shuffle, twice to get to the halfway point, and then repeat it twice on the way back to get back to the beginning. This exercise is going to be called butt kicks. Now, this is probably an exercise that's been in physical education and track and field warm-ups for 50 years, and it always gets done incorrectly. I'll tell you what it is not. It is not this. Okay? And the reason I say that is because what we're trying to promote now is proper running technique. No one who's running at top speed runs with their feet flicking behind their backside like that. Everyone who runs properly is going to be running with their heel under their hips. So we want to promote that. What we don't want to be doing is teaching this, because that's backside mechanics, and that's not the way to do it. So what we're going to be promoting is the foot coming underneath the hip. So you could say that the exercise I'm about to do is really a hybrid of two exercises that we don't want the kids to do. We don't want to do the butt kicks like this, and we don't want them to be doing high knees like this, because you're teaching front side mechanics, which is incorrect. You're teaching back side mechanics, which is incorrect. What you want to be doing is teaching really somewhere between the two, which is kind of the high knee, but with the foot underneath here. So I'm going to show you what I'm calling butt kicks, but perhaps we might be better calling it something else, because a lot of kids, if they go to school or have been in other sports, they understand it to mean this, and that's not what we want. I'll just show you that sideways. So make sure when you're doing it, as before, using that good positive arm action, pockets to sockets, stay nice and tall. You notice that I was using breathing because it's very physically tiring exercise. So I was breathing in through my lungs, breathing out through my mouth, and that way it enabled me to keep the quality high. The next exercise is called crossovers. It's commonly called karaoke. I don't really mind what you want to call it. I'm calling it crossovers. It's similar to the crossover shuffle that we did earlier in the warm-up, but now we're focusing only on crossovers. Now, the way I'm going to show you is from this athletic ready position again. We're getting that chin on the shoulder. We've got the cross, and then the step takes us back to neutral. What we're going to do this time is going to go cross back to neutral, and we're going to cross behind back to neutral, and keep repeating that sequence. Now, some people from other sports will say that you don't really need to use a back cross. It doesn't happen in other sports. It happens in tennis. It happens in tennis. It's something that I want to encourage the children to practice, and I want them to get good at doing it both in a quick fashion and also taking bigger steps like we've done in the previous section. So let me show you what this is. So you can use your arms like I did there, or you can just hold the racket if you want to make it more tennis specific. Show you from the side. So as I said, same things as before, always the same. Nice low athletic pace, get your chest over your feet. Use your arms and make sure that you're focusing forward when you're moving towards the place you want to go. I don't want them to be going like this. I want them to learn to keep their visual focus over their shoulder. The final exercise in the exercise sequence that we've been doing is now called the high side skips. Very similar to the forward high skips, but now we're putting a little bit more emphasis on the ability to push and pull, which is going to work more the gluteal and adductor muscle, which is really important for children who are learning to change direction, moving from side to side. So it's really relevant to tennis. It's actually also quite a good coordination challenge because a lot of the children initially find it quite difficult to coordinate. So I'll show you again and then we'll see where we go from there. Okay, what you noticed about that exercise, I hope you noticed it, was that rather than having a visual focus looking over my shoulder, on that particular exercise, I allow myself to keep everything square on. And the reason is because in that exercise, I'm now recreating moving side to side. So it's not important that I'm looking over my shoulder if I want to push, because now I'm trying to push. And it's important that my visual focus is forward. So start paying attention to which exercises I want you to look straight ahead, things like skipping, and then which exercises I want you to look over your shoulder, things like sidestepping, crossovers, crossover shuffles, this kind of thing.